everyone, and welcome. This is the Banke View. It's the podcast where we deep dive into everything real estate. Today we're going to look into investments. We have two very special guests. They are leaders shaping the industry in the real estate market. So if you want to learn anything from the secrets from behind the scenes, we're going to share with you today. I'm your host, Eve, and today we're going to have a conversation with two amazing leaders who are going to share their insights on everything to do with real estate, Dubai's properties, and PropTech ecosystem. Are you ready to learn? I'm ready to learn. I hope you are too. Let's talk to our guests. Our first guest joining us, Mr. Porush Jhunjhunwala, CEO of Banke International Properties. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
You are creating so many amazing innovative solutions, empowering your teams, and you're just getting extraordinary results. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say today.
Great. Likewise, I'm very much excited to again have this session with you.
Yes. Share everything, okay? Yes. Share everything. And alongside him today, we welcome Vladimir Malugin. We are welcoming you, the Vice President on Property Finder UAE. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You look after PropTech. I'm going to have to ask you about that later, I'll be honest. Need to know a bit more about it. You bridge real estate, technology. You put it all together and you've created an amazing, smart and fast, transparent property experience. So I want to share your insights and everything you know.
Looking forward to it.
Share with us. In today's episodes, we are going to look at the market trends. Not only that, technology, insights, maybe a touch on AI as well. If you're here to learn, we're going to learn together. We'll do investments as well in case you're like me looking for a property. Would be nice to get some insight from the experts. Let's get started. Welcome to the Banke View. Vladimir, let's start with you and your experiences. You have got a career that spans through payments, fintech, telecom, consumer tech, and the word PropTech, and I'm going to be really honest, I don't really understand. So you might have to share your insights on what is that?
Absolutely. Indeed, the career goes and crosses, I would say, a few industries. What is consistent is that I've been working for pioneering companies, and I love doing that. You look at, if you were to pick on a couple of maybe highlights of the career, you look at somebody like Kodak, a pioneer in analog imaging and then digital imaging. PayPal, again, a pioneer in consumer payments and payments online, still pioneering and innovating there. And Property Finder, a true pioneer when it comes to PropTech. But PropTech is effectively a fancy word for bringing consumers and businesses together and making sure that we deliver a great search experience when it comes to homes. Property Finder's vision here is to change living for good in the region. And if you think about it, this is something that expresses what we're all about in a very good way. To change living, to change the way that people live, to change the way that they choose a property that effectively is their home for good. So with a good intent to make it better, but also with a lasting impact. And in the region, we are a UAE company. We come from the Middle East, and we're very proud of our Middle Eastern and UAE provenance.
Now, you've worked from the ground up. I want to hear your story as well, like how you took that journey up the ladder as well. Do share.
I started as an entrepreneur. I did a few enterprises of my own. I ran a few businesses. I sold a few businesses. I then decided to do an MBA and then got seduced into the corporate ladder, into the corporate career.
And now you're leading Property Finder's mission in the UAE. What is the mission right now?
To change living for good in the region. This is exactly it. To connect. What's always, I would say, excited me if you think about, what leadership effectively in that space is. You look at a business that is addressing a core need, right? What core need are we addressing as Property Finder? We're helping people find a home to live in. And arguably, finding and choosing that home is one of the most important decisions that we're going to make in life, right? We're going to bring our kids there. We're going to raise our family. We're going to enjoy it with the loved ones, right?
And it's stressful. Isn't it the number one stress in
It is
life?
100%. It is 100% moving,
right.
Finding, selling a home, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
So you got to make it easy for us. You got to make it nice and smooth and
Not only do we want to
happy.
make it easy for the consumers, we also want to make it easy for partners.
Yeah, but
the
they have
brokers.
done an excellent, where it has evolved over the last, 10 years, the property finder and all. Today,
17.
17,
Not to be precise.
Yeah, precise, but I'm talking about from the time we have started giving emphasis on to the portals. Before it was like, portals, fine, lead will come, not come. There was predominantly historically before, I'm talking about the portal time, which was significantly 10 years, I would say. Before that, the dominance was more on the print side. Okay, so yes, after that, but how they have evolved, we have seen that because we have been in the market seeing the changes. Technically, I believe they have made life easier for consumers. They see all the properties, shortlist everything, online, and then finally they only go and do viewings of few selected units which they have shortlisted. So the life has become easy, whether for local clients or internationally, everyone. Yeah.
Hopefully makes doing business for you a little bit more convenient as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the collaboration works.
Yeah.
It works great.
Indeed.
Porush, you doing Banke, and now I see that you're expanding. So you're not only just here in the UAE, it's Qatar, it's UK, it's India, South Africa. Tell us about your strategy and the principles and how you're going into different markets.
So basically, our guiding principles, usually is very much local in international markets, but with a global vision. Each market is different. Okay, so of course, real estate is very much local. Okay. But having said that, I also believe that every market has its own dynamics, customer mindset, and regulations, which basically is different to Dubai. So that's the reason we don't copy what we have done here in other markets. But at the same time, what we put emphasis is building strong local team, understand that market much more deeper, and also, basically empower the team there to lead. Okay, but keeping our core values, the same, which is integrity, transparency, and service excellence, which is consistent everywhere, all across our market. So which helps us basically to sustain the other markets as well. And also we have a different approach, wherein we for all our few key leaders internationally, we have given them more of an, entrepreneurship. They're more of an entrepreneurship within the organization. We have set up this trend wherein they basically take the ownership of the market for the growth in the region. So that's of course, and it is backed. We of course it is backed with technology and data, wherein we are connected within the market across the region. So that's what exactly internationally what we have been doing that.
Yeah. Is there any scope for a property finder going outside of Dubai?
We are outside of
Okay.
Dubai. So we operate across all of the UAE.
Yes.
We operate in Qatar, we operate in Bahrain, we operate in Egypt, and we operate in Saudi. So we are a truly Middle
GCC.
Eastern company.
Yeah, they are.
Wow. Wow.
So I was not aware that they are in Saudi.
yeah.
Just before the chat,
Mabruk.
of course. So we using a property finder in Qatar, and again, an excellent portal to work with in Qatar, and we do get a lot of leads. So
It took us a while to get to 700,000 properties listed across the region, 12 million monthly visitors, and over 10,000 clients. So, the 17 years since Michael Layani, our founder, effectively took it online, as you rightly pointed out, from the Albab World, which was a publication, a paper version. Yes, it did take us time to build that scale. But if you think about it, building technology businesses at scale is really about taking a core problem, right? Figuring out a way of creating value, and then driving that with a lot of passion, with an obsession, and in terms of solving and delivering the value. And if you're able to do that, you're then indeed, able
Yeah.
to build a unicorn like property finder.
yes.
And now Banke spreading out to South Africa. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell us about the expansion and the vision that you see going there.
So, as I said earlier, of course, predominantly Dubai is growing as well. So we, of course, cannot ignore the fact that we have to grow locally as well. Okay. So, but internationally, the reason is because there are two folds. So you are diversifying a bit as well, wherein today's time is that, of course, with the global expansion everywhere, in terms of the global reach, so it has become easy for the customer to basically be taken care in that particular place. So now the reason for us being opening offices internationally, it's like more of a service boutique offices wherein we can service these clients, because they instead of they flying in here or doing a Zoom call with us, they are more physically present, within the offices. They discuss, their requirements, whatever challenges they are facing, their financial goals. So everything we cater to while we are in front of them, and it's just that I always believe, yes, everything is going digitally, but just that always human relationship plays a very important role, and that's the change what we are trying to get in, and that's the vision wherein we want to reach more and more closer to our clients, okay, and to serve them. Yeah.
I look at brokers and I look at brokerages as human connectors, right? The people that connect, be it a landlord with a renter, be it a seller with a buyer, be it an investor with a developer, be it a businessman with somebody who's got retail space that they want to lease. The human connection element there is of a paramount importance. And even with all the technology and even with all the enablement, I hope you would agree with that, it is still enablers to a very humane connection. Because if you think about it, the business of buying a property is a very personal, a very individual business. And you mentioned we're going to talk about AI, but I strongly believe that it's an enabler. The times where you would want to buy a property, your home, from an AI bot or an AI agent, I think are far, far out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's happening is also internationally today, it's to serve the clients internationally. So for instance, we have an office in India and in Mumbai. So the requirements are for local market as well, but they do have requirements for Dubai. They do have requirements for London. So we can cross-sell, we can serve the same clientele who's our client for all the requirements in different markets. So that's the beauty, because their trust is already built, because there is a transaction in the past. So they know the service excellence, what we have been, always taking care of their properties. So it's best that, they always try and open up more with us and trust us and basically give us an opportunity to serve them in different markets, wherever we have our presence.
Repeat business and building that connection, and with the, I would say, real estate buyer today being a lot more international than maybe 15 or 20 years ago. I think that's super important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you touched on AI, so we might as well ask about AI. And, we're coming to terms with using it on a daily basis and trusting it slowly. Vladimir, how are you dealing with the AI right now when it comes to like broker efficiency, buying experiences? How are you dealing with that?
So there's a number of aspects that we have incorporated in terms of, AI enablement. If you think about it today, a lot of people, the way that they search is they search in natural language, right? So they would go and type in buy 2-bedroom in Dubai Marina with sea view in a pet-friendly building, right? And today this is exactly the way that you can actually search on Property Finder. So we have natural search capability. You type that into the search string, whether that's on your mobile phone or whether it's in the desktop application. When it comes to enabling agents or enabling admins, enabling brokers to list listings, we have assisted AI listing creation, which looks at the pictures, look at the description that you've written, looks at a couple of snaps that the agent might have taken, viewing the property, and then effectively suggests how to best present it in order for the listing to be most attractive and most useful to the consumer.
So it is helping.
It is helping. It is enabling.
It's
it is
not
helping.
restricting.
It's not restricting. It's helping. It's helping in a way where it's guiding, I would say, the user on the do's and the don'ts. Because from a consumer point of view, you want to make sure that the description is accurate, the property is available. These are key elements. These are key elements. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the mix, and we're trying to help and guide our partners in terms of what is that they need to make on the portal, on Property Finder, in order to get to more consumers.
And it's working. It's definitely working. That's so good. And if you are looking at emerging different technologies, maybe like VR or AI-assisted matching, how do you see that progressing in like the next few years?
It's there. It's something that already is available today. For me, if I think about what I really feel excited about is more how technology and how AI helps us democratize access to real estate. And we were just discussing with Porush. We made an announcement a few days ago in terms of the investment that Property Finder has made in Stake. Stake is a company that allows fractional ownership of different properties. So let me give you an example. You have a property in downtown, for example, that is listed on the market for 2.5 million. And you yourself might not be able to afford that entire investment. So what Stake does is they allow you to invest from as little as 500 dirhams to get a stake in that particular property, right? They accumulate a few hundred, sometimes a couple of thousand of investors, effectively, sort of a crowdfunding where they get a stake, right? That property then is completed, or effectively is completed in terms of that ownership. And what they then do is they rent it out. And you, as somebody who has stake in that property,
Percentage?
are starting to get rental
Percentage,
yield.
yeah, okay.
Rental yield, right? So this is truly an example of technology and AI, enabled democratization of access to real estate. This very morning, right, we've announced another partnership. It's just. I don't know how you chose the day for
Exclusive here.
Exclusive here. So we've just announced a partnership with a company called Keeper, which some of our listeners might be familiar with. Keeper allow what's called rent by installments. Okay. A key challenge for everybody who's been renting in Dubai has been, coming to Dubai, and instead of being able to pay on a monthly basis like you pay pretty much across the entire world, you're being hit with the news of you need one check. And if the landlord feels generous, 2 checks, right? And you're
and then raises the price.
Well, that's a separate story, right? In a growing market. But you're like, wow, I need to pony up all of that money effectively up front. So what Keeper does is it allows you to be able to pay that in installments, for example, in 12 months that you used to. And in the first half of 2026, we're basically making that available on PF, both in the app and on the portal. So we're giving our users, our renters, accessibility to these technologies. The landlord, through the platform and effectively through the underwriting that Keeper still is doing, is then allowed to get access still to maybe half of that amount or the entire amount. So what Keeper does is they're bridging the gap in cash, they're bridging the gap in liquidity, which then allows consumers to rent easily and through a much more straightforward and a faster rental journey.
So it's safe as well.
It's safe, it's underwritten, it's guaranteed on both sides, and it makes it, a lot more attainable.
That's a great idea, no doubt about it.
Very
a good concept. But again, I'm sure there would be future new enablers, who would be coming in as well. And because at the end of the day, Property Finder still is I believe, portal, and they would not be renting it out. So this is basically how it would be. I think so. It would be flashing the listings that this has a Keeper kind of a thing wherein you can have a 12-month installment. Right?
One thing I can assure you of, Porush, is Property Finder is never going to be competing with our client.
No, I just want to understand how it would work.
They can take from us. No, because I think you know, if you look at a number of portals, there is a trend where effectively portals are going into the transaction piece. And I think there is always a level of, you know, uncomfort. You know, if you're a broker that is working with a portal, is like, hey, you know, are these guys trying to effectively get my business? In terms of how it's going to be done, we're still in the, I would say, in the producting phase. But you know, I think that's a true step where effectively technology addresses a core need, right, and then delivers value. Yeah. I find that very exciting.
For sure, this would it will basically solve the cash flow issues with, you know, especially people who are coming new to Dubai, and you know, they want to make sure that they settle in well, and this is something which will really help them.
Yeah, because it is shocking when you move here and you're like, oh, I have to give a whole year?
I remember my first experience of forking out that check. I was like, wow.
Scary times. You're like, oh my gosh. But at least you're safe for a year. So there's pros and cons on both of those sides, right, compared to other markets.
True that.
Yeah. Looking at Property Finder's data now, if we were to try and find the trends in Dubai, what is surprising to you right now?
You know, I'm not necessarily sure I want to kind of shock people with what's surprising. I think I sometimes want to bring some of these conversations back to some of the basics, right? I think what is quite interesting is specifically if you look at portals, and if you look at, for example, how some of the professional players in the market look at portals, right? Very few people know that 70% of the consumers do not use the filters. 70% of the consumers are not going to search low to high. This is what agents do.
That's the first one I would do. Is I want to be low to high and see, especially if I'm buying, I want to know, all right, which one is the lowest in the market compared to the highest.
And I can see Divine sitting there in the back, and she is nodding because she is a real estate professional. She knows this, and you know this, right? And
that's shocking.
This is actually an agent behavior.
Yeah, so they all look at what's fresh, what's on top.
Is that the highest search now?
Yeah, that's the highest search, because at the end of the day, or a community search, if they're looking at specific community, they look at that community. Yeah.
That is exactly it, Porush. That is exactly it. So 70% of the consumers are also not going to go past the first 3 pages.
Yeah.
Yes.
And exactly to your point, right? The way that they're going to search is they're going to understand the community where they want to live. They want to understand the lifestyle that they want to have, and then, you know, look in those communities.
And we're lazy. I'll be honest. When I'm searching through, I'm only going to go page 1, page 2, and I'm out.
Case in point.
And I'll come back
case in
tomorrow.
Point. You're a case in point.
And that brings to one additional topic, where that's the reason these properties needs to be verified. Because if your property is not verified, that means you will never be on the first 5-10 pages, right? So
it is heartwarming to see a client understanding our algorithm. Yeah. But you know, Porush, I think, is raising a very important element. There are 2 elements, right, to get on those 3 pages: quality, verification, and the agent score of the agent that is listing the property. This is absolutely for free. For free. This is for hard work, right?
A lot of hard work, yes.
You guys work kind of the quality. You make sure that that's verified, and you make sure that it's listed by a reputable agent or super agent. And the second element is effectively, yes, you buy product. So you buy Community Top Spot, you've got Spotlight, you've got premiums. This is what ensures then the visibility on the first pages that are so important to getting to the consumers.
Yeah, and talking about it, we're talking about now the agents at Banke. Porush, I see that you're supporting the women as your agents, and they're doing so well. You know, they're getting you leading results now, which is fantastic. Go girls. How do you support the women in your business?
So, you know, I believe I'm very proud, you know, for all the women in Banke, you know. I believe they have been taking, you know, the few leaders, women leaders, they have taken great initiatives. They are in one of our leading positions within Banke. And I believe the biggest strength, you know, what they have is empathy. You know.
Kudos to that.
Strategic thinking, okay, and I would say resilience. And the most important thing, I believe, they have this sense of emotional intelligence, you know, which allows them to build great team and genuine client relationships. because that's very important to build that relationships in our business.
The sense of care, I think, and I was also kind of thinking about that. I think the sense of care and women being able to create, that feeling that you're being cared for as a client, looked after, I think that's absolutely great. And I think that's what identifies the leading agents in the market.
So and in terms of strategically thinking, whatever new initiatives, they roll up their sleeves, they take on to the projects, make sure they are abreast to changes. They basically adapt to that quite easily, okay, because they know that this is the need of the hour. So here, that's the reason at Banke, it's not the emphasis on the gender, but it's more on the effort and what the key takeaways, key result oriented. So I believe women are we are proud to have dynamic women in our team, and for sure they're supporting the growth at Banke. Okay, so within the operations, within the sales. So it's not only sales, right? So it's all other things, whether it's in marketing, whether it's finance, tech, IT, so all departments. So we are very, very thankful, and that they are great leaders within the company.
Love that you support that. Go to the ladies. What are the unique trends and insight at Banke right now that you want to share with us, like for off-plan, secondary, commercial deals, investors?
So basically, of course, right now, overall, I believe, historically everywhere, it is the off-plan is always the first one, and then the secondary follows the off-plan, and then commercial follows the secondary. That's how always it's the follow. Though in a sense, it's the chain wherein then first the correction happens on the off-plan side, and then on the secondary, and last on the commercial side. So I believe as of now, yes, we as a company, of course, I'm sure most of the real estate agencies, our emphasis are more on the off-plan. But having said that, we cannot ignore the secondary as well. The reason why off-plan, because the reach is much wider in off-plan at this point in time.
I'm going to ask a question though, as somebody listening in who's not 100% with all the terms. Explain off-plan, commercial. What does it mean? What are you getting involved in, or what are you looking at?
No, so what I'm just trying to say that off-plan today, because of the flexible payment plan, it attracts a lot of international investors.
And off-plan means it's not there yet.
Not there.
It's
yet.
not built. It's not built. It's exactly.
It's the
It's
land.
exactly off plan,
Off-plan.
right? So you're looking at a picture, but it's not in the.
Just getting back to the basics.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we
go. So basically, it's
and commercial then is.
Commercial is could be ready off-plan. I'm saying commercial, which is ready.
Commercial use.
It's
Commercial
ready
Commercial
to go.
use.
The office, the retail.
There you go.
Oh.
Warehouses, offices.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's commercial.
Just taking it back to basics.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. So now coming back off-plan, because of flexible payment plan, and again, fantastic brochures. Everything is there. The properties is not built, but you see fresh. You see everything. Full campaign is set up by the developers, and there's a different approach. There's international campaigns going on, so there are a lot of exhibitions, events happening internationally. So people are more aware about the off-plan, okay, and they know that they can enter into a transaction with minimum deposit, and they pay over a period of 3-4 years. Plus, the brokers are heavily promoting the off-plan because they get higher paid commissions compared to the secondary. So that's another thing wherein, and to, of course, but real estate is, I believe, is secondary, wherein you are exactly, showing the property, what it is. But just that it has its own pros and cons. So secondary, always, you have to make sure if you don't have your mortgage in line, you have to upfront pay 100%, make sure,
What do you mean when you say secondary?
Secondary means ready property.
Ready
okay?
to go.
A resold. A
Ready to,
resold
a
property.
resale,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
which is already built and
They're ready to
yeah.
go and somebody
So,
owns it and they're
yeah.
selling it on.
So
Okay.
basically, for a secondary, somebody who wants immediate rental income, they buy secondary and they can rent it
Okay.
out
Yes.
and get the rental yield. However, that's not the case with the off plan. They have to wait till the time of until the handover,
Completion. Yeah.
until the completion.
There's a few interesting trends that we're seeing to build on what Porush was saying. If you look at the type of people that are buying primary or off plan, right? So this is largely investor community. So people are buying it for in the investment. Close to 80% of the people that are buying off plan or primary are investors, right? Then the remaining 30-20% is you've got landlords who are buying effectively to lease it out, and then you have a small proportion of people that are actually buying to live. As effectively the projects are nearing handover, or as construction is progressing, right, you're seeing a shift, right? So what you effectively have is you have the early investors, what's called flipping the property or exiting for a return, right? And then it's gradually moving to its intended use, i.e. somebody who is either, wants to be a landlord and wants to rent it out, or, an end user. And over the 3-4 years that a property is being built, you effectively see the investor, versus the end user reverse completely. So the investor becomes, maybe 3, 4, 5%, and then it's landlord, but then 80% becomes end user. So this is some of the trends that we're seeing kind of from the journey and from a portal and a real estate, I would say, evolution perspective.
Exactly. And with more and more people coming to Dubai, of course, they need to work. So, of course, they need more space.
Need to live somewhere.
That's the reason, so they have to live somewhere, but plus at the same time, they need space. So commercially, I believe lately, over the last 1.5 year, we have started seeing new launches of new projects, which again, the deliveries would be in 28, 29, 30. We don't see any new commercial real estate deliveries, when the projects are ready and you can just go and plug and play.
What has worked really well in Dubai is, people don't want to necessarily be stuck in the traffic as we're all experiencing. So a trend that we're seeing from, consumers today is consumers are basically trying to figure out how close can I live to effectively an office, right? And I think what Dubai has done really well, and which is part of the master plan, the D33 master plan, is how do you make sure that you combine commercial real estate with residential real estate, where effectively it is all connected and you don't necessarily have to spend an hour or, more than that in traffic.
Yeah. Oh no, we know. Hoping
Only
for
too
that
well.
Hyperloop that they're building under the floor. Let's hope that comes soon. That would be nice. Should we talk about the property finders data, the platform data? Let's talk about the buyer's behaviour, property demands, and how brokers and investors are adapting.
So one of the interesting things about today about demand, and if we talk about how brokers are kind of looking at the ecosystem and specifically working with portals, is it would probably fair to say that brokers want more leads. Right? I have yet to meet a broker that would actually say to me, I don't want any more leads. Right? One of the elements that people are forgetting is you also need to look at the quality of those leads. That you hear in some conversations. But, building on a point that you, Porush, made earlier, is it is super important to look at the velocity of the lead, right? What do we mean by velocity of the lead? It's the time that it takes from when you list the property to the moment where you're effectively transacting on it or getting to Form F. Okay? And going back to my earlier conversation about being on the first few pages, interestingly enough, right, those properties that are on the first few pages do tend to transact faster. Yeah. A premium listing today, on average, is going to transact in 10 days, from the moment it gets listed to a Form F. Okay? And a Form F is effectively the memorandum of sale. A standard listing, right, that will be past page 3, 4, and all the way to page 20 is going to take anywhere between 50 to maybe 70 days to transact. Now, that is a massive difference, right? So one of the things that I would encourage kind of, brokers to look at, and also landlords, when they are looking to list, with, a broker to be able to say, no, I want to make sure that I'm higher up at the top and that my property or my type of property is actually seen there, because I also know that this is what is going to give me a higher transaction velocity.
But to add on this, that's the reason, of course, because we have so many exclusive listings as well, and we give more emphasis on those exclusive listings to put them on top. The reason why, because to be on the portals is I used to always think, it's one point in time that it was very reasonable, but now of course the cost per lead, everything has gone up. The cost of doing business, real estate, has gone up as well. Rents have gone up. All the lead acquisition cost has gone up. So, having said that, and plus the landlords or the sellers, they don't technically pay for the marketing, and for a fact they should not pay, right? But if they genuinely list exclusive with one of good agencies, then for sure I believe that would be taken care of. Their property would be shown up on top, and wherein they will be getting more viewings, more leads that would be coming for that property, and I'm sure that would be transacted within less number of days compared to the others.
100%. And I think you're raising a very valid point today, that landlords want to choose the agency based on, as you were saying, on a full cycle, right? They want to choose an agency that does rent, that does primary, that does secondary. They can help you with a mortgage. They can help you with snagging. They can help you with, auxiliary services around that ecosystem. They want to choose a property that is visible, on the portals, on Property Finder. They want to choose an agency that has community expertise and where the agents have community expertise.
Yeah.
How are you finding that Banke's partnership with Property Finder is like giving you that competitive advantage right now?
So again, as portal, okay, they are always supporting with the new trends, and I believe one of the fantastic things what they have done is all these verified listings and the super agent, so every agent have to make sure, to get that, to reach to a super agent, they have to do some checklists, wherein they have to make sure they respond to the lead in quick time frame. Then they list the product quality. The quality is of prime importance. The photographs have been taken pretty well. The apartments are cleaned before it's been done a photo shoot. Although with AI a lot of things you can do it, but still the actual images are very, very important.
Real.
And so there's a lot of work which needs to be done by the agent, and that's the reason, so that the consumer at the end of the day they feel that these are again genuine listings. Has to be. Before there used to be duplicate listings, but now it's not there, so they have a check at their end, wherein if the listings are duplicated in the sense in terms of the listings in portal, which you have now 3 brokers can list it.
Yes.
So yeah.
By the DLD rules, only 3 brokers are allowed to list the property, and we're ensuring that that's the case.
Yeah.
So we're checking that the brokers have the Form A, they get the Trihisi, which basically allows them to advertise online, and this is part of
Exactly.
Yeah, because you see like online when you're scrolling, you see duplicate pictures and you're like, that's the same garden.
Yeah.
That's the same living room. That's the same
And you don't want to have
area.
that experience
And
as
you
a
don't want
consumer.
to have 5
No.
of them listed
No.
down. You're like, well, which one
No.
am I going with?
Exactly.
No.
And plus what's happening is also I believe because a lot of things they have made it mandatory as well, which is a good thing, Property Finder in terms of, so basically the verified one. So what's happening is the agents have to make sure they have all the documents in place. Before, I'm talking about, again, long before they used to put in any document. People used to not check, so sometimes you'll find just to get the listing out live, we used to have a lot of pocket listings in terms of you don't have the listings, but it's live, so, but now everything has been, checked, which I believe they have made it mandatory, which is good for the market,
It's good for the consumer because at the end of the day, what consumers really care about is they care about three things, right? And I would call that the AAA. They care that the listing or the property is available, right? That the listing is accurate, right? And that basically it is authorized, right? Available, self-explanatory, right? Accurate, it does actually do what it says on the tin, right? It's a 4-bedroom villa in that particular community. This is the area. And yes, it's going to be available from that particular moment. Authorized is exactly to the earlier point that the landlord has signed a Form A, and there is proper documentation in place to be able to ensure that. Because then that ensures, to your point, that ensures a seamless consumer experience. Consumers want to be taken care of, and they want to be speaking to somebody who is knowledgeable in the community where they're looking to buy. And this is what we call the super agent badge does. It makes sure that consumers get taken care of in the way that they appreciate, and they speak to the person that knows the community, has got the property available, has got all the paperwork, and is really going to take care of them.
I'm going to ask a random question.
Fire away.
How do you become that super agent? How do you get that?
So it's more of to work on the mindset of the agent. They have to work themselves, because what happens is...
So it's not like a certain amount of years, you've done it for 10 years and now you're a super agent. It's
so
not
not like that. They have to, of course, focus on our community, because they need to know, for example, the service charges within the community. And I'm talking about within the sub-community. What would be the service charge of this building? What's on an average? Plus, what's the ongoing rental rates? What's the rental yields? What's the supermarket around, schools around, and everything. Plus, what happens is once they transact, they are in that community, they have spent some time in the community, they automatically start getting approached by the landlords, by the sellers, and they get listings. So, because why the sellers are doing so? Because the reason why, because they feel that the agent is aware about the community in detail, okay, instead of just presenting my property to any client, the person will go more specific. What's the unique advantage to buying this property? So that's where I believe the emphasis is given, okay, on the community specialist, okay, and I do believe that landlords and the buyers, they all look at the specialist. So the mindset has to be coming from the agent. They have to believe in this, because sometimes, they don't believe this. They believe that if I have one listing in Palm and one listing in downtown, I could do better. But technically, it's not the case. They have to specialize. That's the way wherein all successful agents have become successful.
The best accolade to anyone's product is when clients explain the product in front of somebody else and you're there like, amazing. You've done an amazing job, Porush. You truly are a super agent.
Hey.
It is about community. It is about community knowledge. It is about having the listings in that community. It is about claiming the transactions, or actually being able to demonstrate that you've done transactions, right? And what this does, it gets you points, right? And we now have the super agent score, it gets you points. One of the things that we've introduced very recently, which we're very proud of, and we know Banke has been using that, is what's called the Super Agent Arena. So we're showcasing the top agents for a particular community, for that community. And what I know you guys have already kind of told us is that you're starting to see seller leads, you're starting to see landlords approaching you and saying, hey, I would like to list with you because this is community expertise. So the agents that are highlighted on that Super Agent Arena, which is basically, a mugshot with a face and, the name of the agency that they work for, they get the click. Wow. They get recognized for that community expertise.
It's a good initiative.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
You make it sound good.
And what happens is we have a very good team, and in terms of, I always believe that today, but it's a human psychology, like everyone, like as we were kids, we always were told to share our toys, right? So likewise, I believe that the agent who is specializing in a certain community, if they get a listing in other community, they should share it with the other agent, you know. So likewise, they will share their listings, which is technically in your community, so which would help. It's a win-win situation, you know, because you cannot reach, and with the ongoing traffic, viewings and all, if you are in that community, it becomes easier. You can do maybe, you know, multiple viewings in a single day if you are in one community. But if you are managing a couple of communities, trust me, you cannot just do multiple viewings, and that will actually not increase your business, that will decrease your numbers.
That is 100% true. And we're using the word community a lot. And if you think about it, Dubai has got 224 communities.
Yes.
Right? Now, the top 25 communities create 73% of all the transacted value in Dubai. The top 58 communities create 91% of all the transacted value in terms of purchases in Dubai. What does that mean for brokers? That basically means if brokers concentrate in these communities and they understand the evolution of these communities and they have the stock in those communities, right, they can make more commission.
It's very smart.
We at Property Finder are very proud to have a lion's share of those listings in those communities and a lion's share of consumers' demand. And this is why I think we've been so successful in terms of building, you know, that repeat machine with the listings and the consumer visits that are growing.
And they regularly educate us, you know, Property Finder, in terms of which communities are doing well. And as he said, you know, because it's all the data, the information, so that keeps us stay ahead as well, you know, in terms of which community to focus on, where is the main business, you know, as he rightly said, 73% of the business is done
25.
by the top 25 communities.
Wow. Where are you seeing Property Finder in like the next 3 to 5 years?
Wow.
What's your evolution?
I think if you look at the world of AI today and how quickly, you know, the world is moving, you cannot buy a laptop or you cannot even buy a mobile phone that is going to stay current, you know, in the next 12 months, let alone, you know, giving projections for the next 3 to 5 years. I think to Porush's point, you know, data is going to be everywhere. And democratizing access to data and making sure that it is contextual, right? Whether that's for a broker that is going to a viewing, or whether that's for the consumer that is going to a viewing, you know, an immersive search journey, that is for sure. From my perspective and from Property Finder perspective, obsessing about making sure that we continue enhancing the consumer journey and that we create that immersive experience on Property Finder, obsessing about giving you guys the highest ROI and making sure that, you know, you improve your P&L, and continuing to, you know, to change living for good in the region.
Can I give you one small thing as the person on the outside who actually uses your platform? I love, genuinely love, that if you have the Property Finder app on your phone, you don't have to log in every time. And it's the smallest, tiniest detail, but it means so much, because there are many other apps out there that as soon as you're out of the app and you're out of it for 24 hours, as soon as you click back on the app, you have to log in again. And who remembers their passwords?
And we remember your previous
so
searches.
I want to say thank you for just staying logged in. I don't have to keep remembering my password and log back in, even if I come back in 72 hours. It's just there.
So they are also tracing, you know, what you're looking around, which other houses you're looking around. They all trace that as well.
We do.
We do. Just love it.
No, we do. But again, we will remember your
search.
searches, because we want to make sure that we're surfacing the content that's relevant to you, right? Because this is where, when that interaction feels personal, this is where the value, I think, is getting delivered. But thank you for
small feedback.
Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
And how do you see Banke as your evolution? Like, how's your future looking?
So again,
your expansions looking.
So of course, as I said earlier, you know, at the beginning, so of course Dubai is growing. We're looking at 2033 plans and so on. Just now, the government has announced 176 billion on the infrastructure. development. So which I believe, of course, they also understand. In fact, we see that, but they have already thought about how they will ease the traffic. That's their vision. So way forward. So I believe that within Dubai or within UAE, we would grow as well. We'll open more offices. The reason why, because we have to cater to multiple communities. There's, as Vlad just mentioned, there are more than 253 communities. Yeah. So we have to make sure, of course, we cannot cater to all the 353 communities, but just that we want to, we have an office in Creek Harbor, which basically primarily focusing on that community. We also have an office in Furjan, which takes care of the people residing in that community. So that's where we would basically open multiple offices in other communities, which is evolving. And of course, internationally, we cannot, because region-wise, GCC, we always believe that GCC is growing, as a region. So for sure, we're looking at our expansion within GCC.
Well, I've learnt so much today. I'm so grateful. It's so insightful. Thank you, Mr. Porush from Banke. Thank you, Vladimir from Property Finder.
Pleasure.
I found it very insightful. I hope you have too. And that wraps up another episode of the Banke View. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope that you'll be back for our next one too, where we will connect you with more leaders and everything that you need to know about the market happening here in Dubai. Until next time, thanks for watching.